I'm here to talk about a few fun effects you can do with Photoshop. Some of these even work with elements. For example, I have this picture here at the Grand Canyon. It's not the best exposure, but I'm trying to show you a few things here. Like, let's say you want to do something that looks like a greeting card or whatever. You could do some vignetting around an image here. I click over here on the marquee tool. I'm going to go to the elliptical, and then I can draw a shape. If I don't like it and I went off, I just start again. I can also move it up and down. So I've got that there. Now if I want to do this, I have this feathered at 15. What I'm going to do, I'm going to float this to a new layer. I do a Control J or Command J here. I'm going to shut off the bottom layer. So you've got this thing here. I go to the Move tool, put this in the middle here. And now, let's say I want to put a background in here. I just add a new layer. Pull this up higher. Let's say I want to give it a color there. I could click over here or wherever I want to. I click on the paint bucket, and then I have a background there. I can always change the color if I want to, make it a little darker. Click in there. Now let's say I want to add some effects to the background, like I want to create a marbleized effect. This is kind of fun here. I'm just going to switch the colors here on that little thing here, and then I'm going to use a lighter one. I go over here, and I've got these two colors here. I'm going to click on Filter, and then I'm going to go into Render, and I'm going to go to Clouds. So you've got a nice little three-dimensional looking background there. If I want to diffuse it, it is diffused here, but I could do it even more. I go to Filter, I go to Blur, and then I can go to Gaussian Blur. And then if I go over here, it just makes it doesn't do anything. But if I go back over here, it shows it like that. Preview, and I can pull it in a little more. You can see a slight difference, but if I pull it out a little bit more, it's a little more diffused. And I could cancel or whatever. It's just showing you how to add things here. I'm going to show you another layer here. I'm going to leave this one here. I'm going to just use some different colors here. Yuck. So I go into like a yellow, a light yellow. Go with my brush here. Paint bucket, I should say. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go over here, change this to, let's say, you could spend an hour picking out a color. Go over here. I'm going to do another one here. I'm going to go to Filter. I'm going to go into Render. I'm going to go into Fibers. It shows an effect there. You can play with it, say OK. So I've got something here. And in this case, the Gaussian blur will work much better effect here. Diffuse it a bit. Too diffuse. Do it slowly. And I have it there. Preview. You can see it's a little bit softer. I say OK. Now I'm going to go onto the top layer here. I can put a drop shadow on it. If I go into adjustments here, I have some not adjustments, I go into styles. I could have one already made up, or I could click on layer, and then I can go into layer style. And let's say I want to do, you have a whole bunch of choices here. I'm going to go into bevel and emboss. It shows things here. I have the preview on. I could change the depth. Over here. I could change the color, the shading here. So I've got that. It's not going to show too well on here because of the softness on the edges. But let's say I want to add something else like inner glow. Again, I could change this color here to another color. You see a slight change here. I'm going to go into like a red. And then you can see a little bit of red over here. And I'm just going to say OK. And now I'm going to do a drop shadow. This is really my favorite one. Drop shadow. Distance. Again, I'm moving this over to the right so you can see this better. Spread. Ooh, it's giving it a nice hard edge. Some of them will work. It depends on the image, the photo here. So I've got that. And this is way too much of a distance here. I'm going to pull this back a bit. And let's say I do like it. I could say, okay. So I've got that in there. I'm not saying you're going to like or dislike this, but one or two of these effects here may be effective. Turn that on, off. You got these choices here. This is a transparent background. I would probably say this one looks a little bit better. So you've now got the image, the last thing here. This thing is now a little bit too small. It's going off. You're on this layer here. You click on the move tool. And I want to make it smaller. I just pull it in a little bit. But the fact is, with those borders and shading that I did before, it lost a little bit of the edge. What I would have to probably do is undo or restart the whole photo. Good luck working with this.